What are weaknesses in chess? So in this video, you'll learn how to identify weaknesses in chess and how to take advantage of them. So let's get started. So let's see that for the white side in this position that I composed. So it's even, but white has one critical weakness. And what is that? So you can look at it and see what you can find is a weakness for white. Yes, bingo. The king a2 is unsafe, and it's an unsafe king. So this king is unsafe compared to the black counterpart. So with the kings on the board, the king will be vulnerable in the near future. So that's one blatant weakness that white has, one of them. The second weakness is the isolated pawn in e4. So there's no pawn defending it ever. There's no pawns in d2 or f2, f3, or d3. So this pawn will be isolated forever. So it'll be alone forever. A weakness on e4 and the king a2. So let's turn the attention to black. So black has a backwards pawn. So backwards pawns are pawns that cannot move up. There's also, like this is like an isolated pawn, there's no pawns to defend it ever. From the c7 square or the e7 square. So this pawn is weak. Also, if you look at this, it's doubled pawns right now. So d7 and d6 are double pawns, as well as having this pawn at d6 being backward. So that's not good. But even more scary for black is that they have this ugly double isolated pawns on b6 and b7. So not only they're doubled like these ones, but they're also isolated, this one, and basically it's ugly for black. And one thing extra, that black has important weaknesses. So if white does this move bishop takes f6, doesn't matter if they take the rook or the bishop. Let's say they take the rook, then now white has knight d5. This is called outpost square. So with removing the knight from the defense d5, this knight jump into the weak d5 square. So let's look at the second example. Seems like nobody has a weakness. But the cool thing about chess is that we can create a weakness by playing as white the move h6. So if they take that pawn, we induce a weakness because this doubled h7 and h6 pawns are doubled isolated pawns. Real ugly. So also f7 is also isolated. So black will be worse, way worse if they take the pawn. Also, if they go g6, they have a weakness on the dark squares. So it's a color complex problem because the dark squares are weakened. There's no dark square bishop anymore. There's only light square bishop. So it's not going to be treating anything about this dark square. So yeah, this is a problem. So they go queen d4. They have to do ugly moves like f6. But now we can win a pawn on b7 by doing this fork. With double attack with queen e5. And if they block with a rook on f7 or they go king h8, then white can safely take on b7 and white is better. So for this final example, I'll showcase a game that will be highlighting everything you learn about color complexes and pawn weaknesses. So this is basically a game between Abid. He's the Grandmaster who won the second club championship on chess.com that I have for my club, and against Viktor Láznička, and also a very strong GM. So let's get to it. So the game started with e4. Viktor Láznička plays e5, now f3, e6, d3, knight c6, g3. He wants to fiend cut out the bishop on d2 this way. d5, knight d2, knight f6, bishop e2, bishop e7, castles, b6. He wants to fiend cut out this bishop, b7, rook e1, bishop e7, e5, attacking the knight on f6, knight d7, c4. It's an interesting play by Abid. So he wants to take that pawn, but keep in mind that d3 is a backwards pawn, like we learned before. But Abid has the treatment really quickly, you're going to see. So they go king c7, Láznička does that, but now Abid's plan is into full motion. So take d5, takes to d5 with e pawn and d4. So you're probably thinking, is that losing a pawn for nothing? It's basically not. So knight takes d4, if they do that, Knight takes there, pawn takes there, and white has for Adley queen g4. A double attack of this pawn, and also highlighting this pawn in d5 is an isolated pawn. So if they castle, there's knight f3, and this pawn will be lost, and this will be an isolated pawn weakness for black, and the game will be worse for black. So they can't do this take on d4. So instead, Viktor Láznička played knight f8. So Adley played knight f1, knight e6, d6 e5, pawn takes c5. This structure is called the hanging pawns. d5 and c5, they're hanging pawns. So knight e3, d4, attacking the knight. Knight d5, attacking the queen on c7. Láznička played queen d7. Knight d2, defending the knight with a bishop. Knight b4. Knight e7. Bishop b2. Knight f5 to preserve the knight. Bishop b5. And now knight e4. Viktor Láznička played king f8. You're probably thinking, why can't he castle? Well, it's a really cool tactic that will basically have white be very much better, because of color complex problems right now. Knight g7 sack will be devastating for black to face. So if the black king goes take on d7, and there's queen d4 check, king h8, knight f6. So the plan is for white to do this one and checkmate. So black can try to resist with queen a4 to try to do queen c2 after queen f5, but now a3 will be played, attack the knight, they go back, and now queen f5, there's no way to defend against mates. The game is over. They can sack a bishop, but it's just queen takes there, and it'll be just a piece up for nothing. So this is why Viktor Láznička played the better move, king f8. Now Adley played a3 anyways, knight c6, and now queen h5. d3, and now Adley makes a move that is really good, that makes black have really bad dark square weaknesses, and the color complex weaknesses that was created will be winning the game for white. He plays knight f6 right now, attacking the queen and the bishop, so the queen cannot move away and lose the bishop. So Viktor Láznička took the knight, so Adley played queen h6, king g8, and now he takes f6. So Láznička played rook e8. Adley played bishop 4. Rook c8 played by Láznička, and bishop d6. Knight d4 is played, but now the game is over after Adley played this really wonderful queen sacrifice, queen g7 check. They have to take with the knight. And now knight a6 is checkmate. They can't move there because of the bishop.